Quentin Tarantino is an American film director, screenwriter, producer and actor. He was born in Tennessee in 1963 and grew up in Los Angeles. He started his career working at a video rental store, where he gained a love and knowledge of cinema by watching movies of different genres. Tarantino has developed a unique style of filmmaking by combining elements of various genres in his films, making references to popular culture, music and cinema history, using sharp dialogues, narratives that are not ordered according to the time of events, and violent and humorous scenes. Having won many awards for his work, Tarantino is considered one of the most influential and innovative filmmakers of his generation. He shows violence in detail in his films. At the same time, I think it is unique to Tarantino to show violence in all its nakedness and make such entertaining films. Since there are disturbing scenes, I would like to warn you for your children and those with sensitive bodies. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This 2019 comedy-drama film written and directed by Quentin Tarantino takes place in Los Angeles in 1969. Rick Dalton, the star of the 50s Western series Bounty Law, feels that his business is going bad because of the bad guy roles he has been playing lately. His manager Marvin tells him to shoot a spaghetti western in Italy, but Rick doesn't like it. Rick's best friend and stunt double, Cliff Booth, cannot find a job because of rumors that he killed his wife. Famous actress Sharon Tate and director Roman Polanski move in next door, and Rick wants to befriend them and save his career. That evening, Sharon and Ramin go to a party at the Playboy Mansion. In the background, the film tells about the changing film industry with the threat of the Tate murders. Tarantino paid great attention to the details in the film and skillfully used the atmosphere of the period, music, costumes and references to cinema history. The film was nominated for an Oscar in 10 categories and won an Oscar in 2 categories. The Hateful Eight. The movie is in the Western mystery thriller genre. It tells the story of the conflicts between 8 suspicious characters who take shelter in a cabin to protect themselves from a snowstorm in Wyoming after the American Civil War. After the Civil War, an executioner takes a prisoner to stand trial at Red Rock. On the way, they encounter another bounty hunter and the sheriff. When the snowstorm hits, 4 more strangers join them: the Mexican, the little man, the cowboy and the old general. But there is betrayal and deception among them. Will any of the 8 strangers make it to Red Rock? The characters in the film represent different aspects of social life: a black ex-soldier, a racist Confederate general, a female prisoner, an executioner, a sheriff, a cowboy, a Mexican and a bounty hunter are the 8 characters in the film. As these characters try to hide their prejudices, hatred, interests and secrets against each other, the tension gradually increases. Even though there were scenes of violence, the humorous dialogues that took place at unexpected times made the movie very entertaining. The film was also shot in 70mm film format and supported by an original score composed by Ennio Morricone. The production won the Oscar for Best Soundtrack and won 5 awards in total. Django Unchained. It is a 2012 spaghetti western film written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It is set in the pre-American Civil War South and reveals the brutal realities of slavery. Django is sold into slavery. German dentist Dr. Schultz is after the Brittle brothers. Django is rescued by King Schultz. Dr. Schultz gives Django his freedom and money to kill the Brittle brothers. After killing the Brittle brothers, Django decides to search for his wife. Dr. Schultz also helps him. Django's wife, Broomhilda, works on the farm of Calvin Candy, a wealthy man interested in slave wars. Dr. Schultz and Django want to trick Candy into buying Broomhilda. Another feature of Tarantino is that he tells the story of oppressed and exploited people finding justice in some of his films. As someone who enjoys this very much, I recommend his films. This magnificent production received a total of 58 awards, including 2 Oscars, out of 158 nominations. Inglourious Basterds is a 2009 war film written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. Movie 2. It takes place in France during World War II and tells the stories of a group of Jewish American soldiers who resist the German occupation and a woman who owns a movie theater. The film begins in German-occupied France. Shoshana Dreyfus, a woman who witnessed the murder of her beloved family by Nazi Colonel Hans Landa, narrowly escaped the massacre and fled to Paris. There he acquires a new identity as the owner and operator of a movie theater. At the same time, in another corner of Europe, Lieutenant Aldo Raine organizes a group founded by Jewish soldiers to retaliate against the enemy. Known by his enemies as Bastards, Raine's group has undertaken the mission of harming the leading figures of Nazi Germany. For this purpose, they cooperate with German film actress and secret agent Brigitte von Hammersmark. Their fates will intersect under the roof of a movie theater where Shoshana plans to take her own revenge. Death Proof. The film is about psychopathic stuntman Mike killing young women with his modified cars, which he calls Death Proof. It is described as an homage to Tarantino's pulp horror and serial killer films of the 1970s. Stuntman Mike is a killer who can escape any traffic accident unscathed with a death-proof mechanism he has mounted inside his car. He uses this mechanism especially in his attacks against young women. One day, he set his sights on 4 women he met in a bar as his new targets. But this time, he is unaware of the identities of his victims and unaware of the trouble he is about to get into. The film is the second part of director Quentin Tarantino's Grindhouse project, which he shot as 2 films with Robert Rodriguez. It is a film that contains all the characteristics of the exploitation cinema of the 1970s, of which the director is a fan, and is difficult to digest for the average viewer due to the intense violence it contains. Kill Bill, Volume 1. This film, shot and directed by Quentin Tarantino in 2003, tells the story of a woman named Bride, a former assassin, seeking revenge for what she experienced. The bride is shot at her wedding by her former boss Bill and his crew. Her lover and baby were also killed. When he comes out of his coma, he swears revenge. First he kills Vernita, then he goes to Japan to kill O-Ren. Hattori takes a sword from Hanzo and cuts down O-Ren's men one by one. He fights O-Ren with a sword and kills him too. He leaves Sophie alive to inform Bill. Bill tells Sophie that the bride's baby is alive. The film has a comic book atmosphere throughout. This makes over-the-top action scenes acceptable. In fact, part of the movie is in anime form. Kill Bill, Volume 2. The film is a film shot and directed by Quentin Tarantino in 2004. Bill, the bride's ex-lover, the father of her child, and the leader of the Deadly Viper assassination squad, arrives unexpectedly and orders the Deadly Vipers to kill everyone at the wedding. Bill shoots the bride in the head, but she survives and swears revenge when she wakes up 4 years later from a coma. 4 years later, after assassinating Deadly Viper member O-Ren Ishii and Vernita Green, the bride goes to Bill's brother and Bud's trailer and tries to trap him. 4 years later, the bride, having survived the attack, goes to the home of Vernita Green, who plans to kill her. The film was planned as a single release, but running over 4 hours, it was split into 2. Jackie Brown. It is a 1997 crime film adapted by Quentin Tarantino from Elmore Leonard's novel Rum Punch. The film tells the story of Jackie Brown, a flight attendant who carries money for drug trafficker Ordell Robbie, when Jackie is captured by ATF agent Ray Nicolette and detective Mark Dargis. She makes a deal in which she will be released in exchange for helping them capture Ordell. However, Jackie comes up with a plan to keep Ordell's $550,000 for herself. To implement this plan, he hires a bail bondsman named Max Cherry, who pays his bail. It is Quentin Tarantino's only feature film adapted from another work. Although the pace is a bit slow, it offers the usual Tarantino wit and charm. From Dusk Till Dawn. The film is a 1996 action horror film written by Quentin Tarantino and directed by Robert Rodriguez. It tells the story of bank robber brothers Seth and Richie, Quentin Tarantino, who take a family hostage while escaping to Mexico and then get trapped in a bar full of vampires. Seth Gecko and his brother Richie rob banks and kill a lot of people. They want to escape to Mexico, but they take former priest Jacob and his family hostage. While crossing the border, they enter a club with vampires. They fight until the morning to get rid of the vampires. Pulp Fiction. It is a 1994 crime film written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. The film tells 4 stories about how the lives of different criminals living in Los Angeles are interconnected. Vincent Vega is assigned to entertain Mia, the wife of his boss Marcellus Wallace. Mia takes Vincent to a restaurant called Jack Rabbit Slim's and dances with him. However, when Mia mistakes Vincent's heroin for cocaine and overdoses, Vincent makes an effort to save her. Butch Coolidge wins a boxing match for which Marcellus Wallace paid him, but runs away. However, Butch returns to his motel to retrieve the gold watch he inherited from his father. Vincent Vega and Jules Winfield go to an apartment building to retrieve Marcellus Wallace's suitcase. There they kill several people, but when someone fires his gun, it is considered a miracle that nothing happens to Vincent and Jules. Jules thinks this event is a sign from God and decides to give up his life of crime. Vincent Vega and Jules Winfield go to a cafe after retrieving Marcellus Wallace's suitcase. There, 2 robbers named Pumpkin and Honey Bunny start robbing the cafe. Jules does not give Pumpkin the suitcase and starts talking to him.